The first thing I did was outline the lower edge of her headpiece using a brown paint. To paint the star, I started with a straight line right in the centre of my forehead, and then I added 2 more lines coming off this. In the centre, I painted a small upside down star with 5 points, and then I connected each of these points to the larger lines. It is quite hard for me to explain, but if you use a picture for reference, it's not too difficult. Next, I added in the arms of the star and I joined them up to the middle section. I painted in the top part of her headpiece, but later on I decided not to use this line, so you can skip this step depending on what shape you want. For the gold colour, I took some mixing liquid and some cosmetic powdered metal gold, and I poured a small amount of the liquid into a pot, and then I added half that amount again in powder and mixed the two together until all the lumps had disappeared. I filled in the headpiece with the mixture, and I painted very carefully around the star, and I covered my brown guidelines. It was at this point that I decided to change the shape, so I continued up with the gold right into my hairline. Next, I went back to the star, filling in some of the sections with red and making all the edges stronger and neater. To try and get it to look 3D, I used a darker red colour on the sections of the star that would be more in the shadow. Then I went round all of the edges with a thin black line so that it would stand out against the gold. I outlined the bottom edge of the headpiece with a thick black line, and then to give it a bit more detail I painted in a secondary line just above it, but it was much thinner. For the lipstick, I used the same red that I'd used in the star, and I painted slightly over my natural lip line just to give it more of an exaggerated shape. I then went back to the dark red and I added some shading in the corners. I went round the design and I added in a few white highlights here and there to try and make everything stand out a bit. And then finally I took my hair down and I tried to make it as big and curly as I could, and I also made sure I had a centre parting to cover up the top edges of the headpiece.